Hello, this is Adam Beck. I'm the founder of the blog Bilingual Monkeys and the forum, the Bilingual Zoo. I'm also the author of the book Maximize Your Child's Bilingual Ability, Ideas and Inspiration for Even Greater Success and Joy Raising Bilingual Kids. Number 1, start early. If you're proactive from the start, you'll stand a much better chance of nurturing a good balance in the child's bilingual ability. From birth to age 6 or 7 is a vital time for 2 reasons. 1, this is the period young brains are most primed for language acquisition. And 2, if the child attends elementary school in the majority language, it grows more difficult to rebalance the 2 languages after that. In other words, the investment of time and energy up front will make it easier to foster the balance you seek, then maintain that balance throughout childhood. Playing catch-up with the minority language is much harder. Number 2, prioritize it. Making this a priority goes hand in hand with being proactive. If the development of your child's minority language isn't one of your family's highest priorities, chances are the majority language will quickly come to be dominant and the minority language will be relegated to a more passive role. Don't underestimate how quickly this can happen once the child enters the world and spends the bulk of his hours bathed in the language of the wider community. Make the minority language a priority from the get-go, and you'll strengthen the odds of achieving long-term success. Number 3, don't leave it to chance. Don't let the whims of circumstance determine the outcome. You should actively shape the situation on an ongoing basis so your child receives sufficient input in the minority language to counterbalance the weight of exposure coming from the language of your community. Some take a more laissez-faire approach, saying that the minority language can be picked up later when the child is older. That may be true in some cases, but there's also the natural desire of many parents to interact with their children in their mother tongue throughout the childhood years, as well as the need for a shared language so that children can communicate with extended family members. Number 4, set a goal. Set a clear goal for your child's ability in the minority language. Will you be content with oral fluency and less concerned with reading and writing? Or is literacy important to you too, and you'd like to see her read and write at the level of a monolingual child? Whatever your goal is, articulate it and make sure that your efforts match the goal you seek. Good reading and writing ability are attainable, but this goal will require a diligent commitment from both you and your child. Number 5, get informed. By informing yourself on the subject of children and bilingualism, you'll be better able to promote the development of your child's language proficiency. Turn to helpful books, online resources, and other parents to broaden your knowledge and ideas. Seek out associations on bilingualism or parenting in your region for further support and camaraderie. Join me and others around the world at the Bilingual Zoo, a warm, lively forum for keepers of bilingual kids. Number 6, write about it. Along with reading about this subject, when you write about your experience raising bilingual children in a journal, blog, forum, etc., you naturally become more mindful and proactive and more effective in your daily efforts. To strengthen your outlook and actions and your children's progress, the simple habit of writing regularly about your experience can be deeply empowering. Number 7, ignore the naysayers. Some people, even those who are otherwise well-educated, may warn that your child will become confused or suffer other hardships when learning 2 languages at once. Don't let such comments deter you. At the same time, take people's prescriptions with a grain of salt. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to families raising bilingual children. In my case, I'm eager to hear about others' successful experiences because maybe I can adopt or adapt those strategies for my own family. But only I can really decide what's appropriate for my particular situation. Number 8, keep the core conditions in mind. The two core conditions for successfully fostering language acquisition and active use are exposure and need. The child must receive sufficient exposure to the target language and feel an organic need to use it. If one or both conditions are lacking, the more likely outcome is passive ability in that language. In other words, the child understands much of what is heard, but tends to rely on the majority language to communicate. Of course, this passive ability can be later activated, but again, progress requires satisfying these two core conditions. At heart, success on the bilingual journey is always tied to exposure and need. Number 9, adopt a strategy. How will you use the two languages within your family? Two common strategies are the one-person, one-language approach, where each parent speaks his or her mother tongue, and the minority language at home approach, where both parents use the minority language at home and the majority language is acquired from the community. Whatever strategy you choose, the important thing is making sure that the child has a natural need to use the minority language and receive sufficient daily input in that language. The family should then stick consistently to its strategy unless a change in circumstance warrants a change in approach. Number 10, decide on schooling. The language strategy you choose to adopt may also depend on the schooling decisions you pursue. Will your child attend school in the majority language, the minority language, some combination of the two, maybe homeschooling? Whatever you decide, look broadly at your child's language exposure and seek to maintain an effective balance between the two languages. For the minority language, a good target would be about 25 hours of exposure per week. That's roughly 30% of the child's waking hours, depending on routine. Anything less than 20 hours a week could be a cause for concern. Conversely, if your child attends school in the minority language, you may need to shore up certain aspects of the majority language, particularly reading and writing, with additional support.